Hello everyone, I'm Blueberry Pancakes Please, previously Royal Sealy, also known as Mignonette, and this is my 2026 Lolita wardrobe. So we're doing it a little differently. I've taken everything out of my closet and we are going to put it back in one by one. So the first dress we have here is Baby the Starshine Bright Doki Doki Strawberry Magic 2. So this one is really cute. The main differences between the first cut and the second cut, in my opinion, that made me like this cut more is the detachable apron. It has cute little strawberry embroidery on it, which I always think embroidery can really add a lot. Or maybe it's strawberry lace, but it's very, very cute. It has this waist bow, and the heart-shaped donuts are also an added bonus. It is a shorter dress, but I really like it. Lots of chunky lace detail, very cute. Up next, we have Angelic Pretty's Whipped Magic. This is the one with the tulle yoke, and it is the white colorway. The way you can tell is by what color is directly touching these dark pinks. At least that's how I've been doing it. So this is actually a surprisingly versatile piece, and while I don't typically enjoy yoke cuts, because it is this kind of tulle layer, it doesn't bother me, and I think it's really cute. The tulle also has polka dots, so it looks like sprinkles on a cupcake. She did not get a lot of use this year, which is kind of a shock. She tends to be one of my more worn pieces, but still very special, and I look forward to welcoming in the year with her. Now we have Baby the Starshine Bright Sweet Strawberry Sunny Days, or something to that effect. And what I think is so striking about this is the different patterns. So we have polka dots and stripes, and this black and white with the bright juicy berries is just so striking. The contrast is high. I bought this while traveling in Japan 2 years ago now, so it has a very special space in my heart, and it's definitely one that I feel very good in. The only thing is this one does bleed from a couple of different locations. The dark black accent lace that's at the top, or not lace, oh, I'm blanking. Well, this black heart accent detail does bleed, and then some of the red berries bleed as well. So I've been spot treating it over the years, and it does seem to be improving, but still a beloved piece. Reminds me of a great time with a friend of mine when we were traveling. Following that, we have a famous piece by Moyman Moitié. It's Iron Gate. This is the re-release. It is really beautiful. It's not like they innovated, but I don't mind. When you have such an iconic piece, it's nice when they re-release original cuts or designs unaltered. The only thing is this one does not have any shirring at all. So the measurements, because it's poly, it can be a little bit flexible. But yeah, something I find interesting is that when we go into discussions of Lolita and preferring cotton or poly materials, poly is seen as something that's more recent, but Moitié, when I look through some of their older pieces, they seem to have hopped on the poly train really early. That being said, for poly, I really think this has a nice feel to it. Because it's white, it is a little see-through, so sometimes the buttons of the blouse, things like that, yeah. But it's really beautiful. I really like it. It is a piece I like to wear when I want to go low effort, but still feel stunning. You can see my wardrobe is a bit sweet. Some of it's more on the edge, and then some of it is gothic. That's going to be a continuing thing ping-ponging around. Next we have Metamorphosis Card Playing Kitty. When I think of downsizing my wardrobe, if I could only take 5 things in a fire, or everything had to go, I'm moving, whatever, this is one of them. It's so versatile. It has this detachable apron that attaches to these card suit buttons on the bodice, and the skirt portion of the apron itself has Metamorphose embroidery, which is really nice, both with and without the apron. It's just such a great piece. And yeah, I like it. This is another comfort piece. The shirring is very comfortable. The fabric is very soft. this is just a piece I don't ever see myself getting rid of. They also re-released that series under a different name, Wonder Card Queen of Hearts. Yeah, so lots of different cuts out there, and that's something I like about Meta is when they do re-releases, they tend to switch up the format. So if one time there's a cut you're not a fan of, if they re-release it, it's usually a different cut. Next, we have Angelic Pretty's short sleeve OP, Sweet Strawberry Ribbon, I believe, something to that effect. This is a really cute and comfy piece. The back shirring panel is pretty large, and I just love all the details. It's just so cute. It is super wrinkly because with the elastic straps on the neckline and the sleeves, I don't want them to stretch out too much over time. Eventually it's going to happen, but just trying to prolong that. It has neckties that I think are really cute, and if I want to be cute and just throw one thing on, maybe it's a hot day or I'm feeling low energy, this is a great piece. And it also has a sleeve length that allows me to layer long sleeve blouses under, which adds to more versatility for OPs. Up next is a stunning Innocent World Forest Harvest JSK. I really like Innocent World. In my Lolita journey, this is one that I bought more recently, probably over the last year, and it definitely signifies that mature shift that I've been having over this past year with the brown colorway and the sage green accents. Something I love about this piece, besides the print itself, is the bustle. So the bustle has its own print on each tier. And what I think is really unique, having owned several bustles, is the bustle part of the skirt is not attached directly. It's actually sewn to the lining layer of this dress. So I just think that's a really interesting solution to bustle work and not one I've seen before. You'll see I have another piece in my wardrobe. Oh. I have another piece in my wardrobe that's similar to this in that there's forest animals and pies and things like that. So I think it's funny that the first piece I bought and my more recent piece still have very similar motifs, just with a different feeling. Lots of cute things here. The mice are really cute. They have chipmunks and jam. And this kind of piece really makes me want to do fawn makeup, even though it's been a while since that was a trend. But I just think this would look really cute. Now we have Self Fabric Frill by Metamorphose. So this is an older piece, and it's also one where if I want to have a more casual day out, this is a piece I wear. The solid color makes it so versatile because if you do any color, it's a two-tone cord, and you can just do whatever you want. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So something neat about this is the corset lacing in the back uses eyelets like you would see in a shoe. Part of me is worried over time if these tarnish, it could affect the JSK, but it's been going for a pretty long time without any issues, so I think it'll probably be lucky. This vertical pin tuck too, I think, is a more unique aspect. I just find a lot to love with this piece. And I like that it's a more A-line shape. A-line being a little less poofy, that allows me to go shopping and not have to worry about hitting things as much as in some of my cupcake skirts. But obviously things happen. This is one of the pieces that has been in my wardrobe for the longest time-wise, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So this is Angelic Pretty's Princess Cat Peplum cut. It is folded over the hanger right now, so I'll just show you the skirt portion. But you see these lovely cutie cats here, and I like to imagine them as a married couple, and yeah, it's just so cute, these two cuties. They have two different types of chandeliers on here. They have one that is more straight with an upward swoop, and one that's very curly, reminiscent of the Pokemon Chandelabra or something like that. And it also has a lot of Princess Dolly looking things. So we got a handbag, we've got rhinestone glasses, bows, diamonds. It's just a very luxurious set of cats enjoying their life together. The fun thing about this piece is the bodice has an asymmetrical design to it, and I'll put a picture up as well. And the bows on the bodice are detachable, so I actually get a lot of use out of those bows when I mix and match with my other pieces. And that's one of the many things I love about Lolita is the detachable pieces and putting them on different pieces. Now this was my last purchase of 2025. This is Metamorphoses Mermaid Princess JSK. I don't remember which one. So this piece, well, this series, Mermaid Princess from Meta, has been on my wish list since I started. I've gone through a couple of things where I thought some cuts would be more better than others, so for the longest time I was looking at the navy colorway in the asymmetrical OP. And then I got a navy marine piece that we'll see later, so when this popped up, it was for a very decent price, and it was not navy, and I already have a navy marine print, so I thought maybe some versatility was in order. Or at least I thought some variety was in order. So what I think is really unique about this piece that I don't think Lollyberry stock photos do justice is that there is a tulle overlay that's sparkly on these chest bows that are detachable, and the neckties are also a sparkly lavender sheer. There is a rhinestone starfish both on the waist bow, which you cannot detach, I learned, and on the chains here. So there's actually 3 different starfish here, 2 metal, and then 1 with the rhinestone on it. And attached to that is a tiny little Metamorphose glittery heart. So it's just cute. It's really cute. I also have a soft spot for lavender with red. I don't know why, but it just tickles my brain. So in this case, you get that with the luxurious red of the treasure chest lining. It also has a very beautiful boat on here, and whatever else would be a mermaid's treasure. And I like this kind of vignette that shows a mermaid with a seahorse. It's just a really beautiful piece. There's tiny faint white bubbles that are printed. There's just so many more details that stock photos do not show. Yay! It's mermaids! So we're moving on from our lavenders and we're whipping out into green. Green is my love. I have probably the most green pieces out of any other colorway, and it's the color that I usually feel the best in. So here we have a skirt from Access Femme, and it is Halloween print, I think. There's a lot of cats on here, which is super cute. They have this sort of circus tenty vibe from the stripes. There's a graveyard, there's the spooky church, and some spooky houses. There are cats hopping on top of the buildings and in the shadows looking like little demon creatures. So this is an Access Femme poetic skirt, but I think it might be listed as something else online. It's great. So it has shirring on the sides. There's a small panel in the front and the back that is not shirred and has adjustable corset lacing. The fabric has such a wonderful texture, and it's so nice. I love skirts that have this sort of high-waisted look, this pseudo corset look. I think it's just very flattering. So I love her. I did misplace the bow when I went to the swap meet last year, so I am heartbroken about that. So if anyone, for whatever reason, has just the green waist bow for this piece and wants to sell it to me, please reach out. Metamorphose Profusion of Flowers in Nostalgia, OP, from the first release. This one's fun. It has detachable parts, so there's the square collar. The thing about the square collar is it snaps in the back, but there is nothing that attaches to the square neckline of the bodice itself. So I might need to put in some safety pins next time because it will move around. I'm also just a very mobile person and I move my arms a lot, so I think probably get to traveling. So this piece reminds me a lot of my grandma. I think she would have liked this a lot. It has more of a traditional square neckline that I don't see too often. The skirt, it takes well to various levels of poof, so I tend to do a smaller A-line petticoat. And the border print itself has a variety of flowers and beautiful, beautiful birds. I like to pair this piece with kanzashi, and I just really like it. It also has detachable sleeves, but I tend to wear this in the summer months. I like the short sleeve look of this piece a lot. So this usually ends up being something I wear when it's warmer out. But it's nice. And the colorway is opal green. That's what you see on these diamonds. It just seems very unique to see this opal green with the purple. And I know that Atelier Perot, they did a panel at the Grace Lace last year, which I was fortunate enough to go to. And they talked about how the purple and green colorways were like the overseas colors. So I think it's really funny that the WA piece that I have is green with purple. I have the two overseas colors in one. But I just think it's beautiful. I love this piece. It's so comfy. Now we have Dalby's Bunny Basket JSK in green. So I like this piece a lot. It feels so sturdy. It's so comfortable. It has a pocket and it came with a hair slash brooch accessory, which I thought was really nice. And this is just so cute. It's very patchwork, like quilting. And I think I just love it. I don't have much else to say other than I really like this piece. I usually wear it for more casual meets or if it's like an online thing, just to really feel nice when I'm around the house. So I really like this. There's a black colorway that was released for Black Friday, and I think that would be very nice to have as well. But green is my number one, so I'm very happy to have the green colorway. Here we have Angelic Pretty's Honey Cake from one of the earlier releases. It's cotton, it's green, I like it. I think I've gone back and forth on this piece a lot just because when I received it, it was so dirty. It had black and brown stains all along the bottom that were not disclosed. So I really had to put in some elbow grease to get those out and get that into a state where it wasn't like that obvious. But when that happens, I'm just kind of get like, oh, frustrated. So I've had like complicated feelings about this piece for that reason, but I'm coming back around to being very happy that I have it. We've been through a lot together. I hope to wear this to a honey cake meetup this year, but I also have another honey pancake themed piece that we'll get into shortly. But this is AP's honey cake, very cute, and onwards. We have another piece that is folded over the hanger, and this is Metamorphosis Rabbit's Cafe in the mint or teal colorway. I can't remember exactly what this was called, but it is a bright cyan, I would say, maybe like a more muted cyan, but it's a very blue colorway. So this is super cute. It has some Alice themes with bunnies and top hats, but it also has rabbits in their house making dishes on a bicycle. The card suites, they're here as well. And what I like about this, so this is the short sleeve OP. It has detachable bows that cover the entire neckline, which the entire neckline is also elastic, hence why it's folded. But it also has a pearl chain, and pearls are one of my favorite accessories for Lolita. They're surprisingly easy to find secondhand in antique shops for an okay price, at least where I'm around. So it's a nice, easy accessory, and since it already has pearls as a detail, I can just put my pearl jewelry on and be set. So this piece, very comfortable, can be corded with a long sleeve blouse or as is for a more summery feel. So here is that other piece with honey and pancakes. It's Metamorphosis Honey Pancakes. We have super cute teddy bears having a picnic on a nice blanket. They have their tea sets out. They have musical instruments for entertainment. It's just a lot of cute friends hanging out. And it's adorable. So this is the heart apron cut. The actual skirt itself has the base pattern that you usually would see further up on other cuts. But this one doesn't have any of the picnicking you usually associate with this piece. It just has the non-border print. So the border print is on this skirt itself, and then the heart apron has a very, very cute teddy bear. I know, little kitty. So my cat has joined. I've added a little chair for her to sit in. Hopefully that will be enough for now. So this is Honey Picnic. It has the cute little bear, and I really like this. I usually struggle with skirts. I prefer them to either have that high-waisted chunk, or I just prefer a JSK. But this one has been very nice. It also came with the KC, which is a nice quilted head bow. It has some fluff to it, which is a fun detail. While we're on the topic of picnics, why don't we talk about Metamorphosis Pink Lemonade? I've owned this piece 3 times in 2 colorways. The mint right now is my preferred colorway, and the reason why I went through so many iterations is I used to have the low waist version, which lacks any shirring at the low waist part. So there's shirring in the back, but not at the bottom. So that one I found to be a bit challenging. I then got a different cut, and I was hoping it was the mini length, but it was the midi length, and I like to have my legs out. So thankfully this popped up, and I was able to get a cut that I feel suits me better. So this one has detachable bows with a detachable chain that has an asymmetrical look. Detachable waist bow. This corset lacing is very decorative. It has tiers. The buttons have flowers in them. I think this is an underrated lemon print. This has lemons all over it, and they're heart-shaped. You also have the lemonade itself with these pink jars of pink lemonade. And bees working very hard to add some honey for your enjoyment. So the bees, I think, are one of the biggest draws to this piece. And I just think it's stellar. I'm a big fan of it. You can cord this with a lot of colors because of all the things in the bottom. So I've done brown, I've done pink, I've done white, and I'm having fun with it. Next we have Kuma Kumia's ice cream, sweet ice cream. And this piece has been with me for a while as well. For that reason, I'm on the fence about selling it. I really love mint, and I think as far as my mint pieces go, it really stands out because it has more of that chocolate accent. And I also think it's it hasn't been that hard to find, so that's why I'm hesitant to sell it. But I really don't wear it as much as I probably should. But there's Scoops of Ice Creams all about Usakumia and Kuma Kumia. They are running an ice cream stand, they're enjoying an ice cream together, and there's ice creams made that look like them. So it's super, super cute. I just think this piece is amazing. So this piece is my big brand purchase of the year. It's Metamorphosis Maison des Roses in the tulle yoke cut. There were 2 cuts. One was a roughly cut that was, I thought, beautiful, but I want to be able to wear my Lolita for more casual things because I'm doing more casual things these days, and I just want to get more use out of my pieces. Not like you can't go all out. There are times I go all out and I'm just walking around the mall. Or I'm going to the grocery store. But I wanted something that felt a little more classical and a little more toned down. So that was what really solidified the cut for me. What made me fall in love with this release in particular, I think all the colorways are stunning. Obviously, I'm a green fan. So what made me say, oh, I need this, and I need this in green, is the town that's in the bottom. I like that it's a dark green with a different green accent on a green background. So we get at least 3 types of greens on here. That is luxurious for the green lovers. The pink flowers also contrast nicely. And something I have fun doing is looking for all the metamorphosed swans, because there's a lot of meta swans on here that I did not notice in the stock photos. The other thing is there's rabbits and there's a fountain on here. So it just feels very like a romantic, idyllic town. It's just so nice. So we have two more green pieces. The next one is going to be Metamorphosis Patissiere in the Forest, the Bustle Cut release. They've released this piece a few times, and this is the piece that got me into Lolita. I was like kind of considering it, and then I went on Meta's website and they were doing pre orders for this bustle cut. And I said, well, of course, this is the one for me. So this was my first pre order. It wasn't the first dress I received and courted, but it was the one that I started planning for immediately. And what got me to take the leap, because I don't think I would have taken the leap if I had not seen it. So what I like about this particular release is the bustle is cream, and so is the border ruffle. And there's a lot of different tea sets. So they actually have this tea tier stands for afternoon tea, a large teapot. There's different kinds of sweets on here. You have bundt cakes, you have pie. It's a really lovely decadent theme. There's apples on it, blueberries, which are my favorite berry, and it has a detachable fur collar. When I got this piece, I went all out. I tend to enjoy, if I can, also getting the set accessories. So Maison des Roses, since I knew I was only doing one brand purchase this year, I saved up a little more to get the accessories for that, and that was the same case here. Now, Meta recently released a button front version of this JSK, and I really want it in red. But obviously, I am holding off for the time being because of the tariff situation in the US. But one of these days, it'd be nice to have the red button front. For now, I'm really happy with the green colorway. This is a piece that will likely stand the test of time in my wardrobe because of what it represents, but I also just really like the motifs on it. So this one also has forest animals and the Innocent World piece I was referring to. These are the two that I think are linked from different parts in my Lolita journey. So I have one more JSK that is mint green, and that's going to be Kuma Kumia's Marine Island JSK. That one has to be washed, so I will be probably doing that after this. But I didn't want to hold it up and then put it in there if I'm going to wash it. So I wore it for a recent swap meet, and I love it. I've owned Marine Island in 2 cuts and 3 colorways. The first piece I had was the pink 2 cut, which is like the full back shirring with a minimal bodice, and I found that I didn't really like the way that cut looked on me. And I'm also not really a pink person despite having a couple pink dresses. So I decided to treat myself one year to my preferred colorway, which was the navy. So this navy is a purpley navy, which I think is very unique. It's a very royal purplish navy colorway. Something I love about all the colorways is that the base of the sand alternates depending on what colorway you pick. So the mint has yellow, the sax has yellow, the navy and the pink have purple. And I think altering aspects of the print to better suit the colorway helps me justify having 2 colorways. I think I could even see myself having the sax at some point. But yeah, they just have such different feels. There's an Usakumia mermaid on this, there's turtles, there's beautiful fish and jellyfish, pearls, and they have an Usakumia seahorse, which is also very darling. The center charm also changes between gold and silver depending on your colorway. And since this is the 1 cut, it has a scallop bodice and a scallop bottom with this crimped tulle lace. So very magical, nautical, Marine Island. This pearl on the bodice, I believe that's not in the 2 cut either. So we have yet another folded piece. This is the Swallowtail X Metamorphose collab piece that I wore to the Gilded Age. So what I like about this piece, there's a lot I like about this piece. The embroidery on it shows the swallowtail logo, which is the butterfly with some roses. And this column here is an adjustable length ruffle column. So it gets more ruffly if you pull it up and it makes it shorter. But it also means you might not see this cute little butterfly rose motif. So it's a shiny navy. The top of it is shirred partially, but it also has boning, which makes it fit a little differently in the front. And it does come with an underskirt in case you decide to cinch it. That way it's not just petticoat showing. So I really like this. I got this shortly after my trip to Japan, where my friend and I went to the Butler Cafe Swallowtail. So this was another way for me to sort of commemorate that great experience I have. And it's also just very beautiful. And it's also another signifier of some of the darker themes, more gothic themes in my wardrobe. So we're kind of all over the place. We're also in the butterfly zone. So this is a piece from Abilitage. I love Abilitage. They're known for their corsets and their corset print legwear. I bought this while I was in Japan. I was on the fence because there is a little bit of shirring, but I couldn't tell from the online listing whether or not it was going to be enough. Luckily, it is. So this is another piece that you tend to wear casually. It's the shorter length. It has flowers. It has ribbons. It's just a nice loose skirt. So here we have Cat Print by Metamorphose. Cat print, but it also has cute little butterflies that the kitties are chasing. I like this piece a lot. I think it's super cute. This is the JSK cut, so it's a little bit more limited in terms of flexibility and sizing, but it's a soft material. It has a built-in mini petticoat situation. It's just really cute. I've only worn it one time to a swap meet, but I look forward to courting it more. And it's such a nostalgic style of artwork. They're so cute. Next up is Bouquet Print by Metamorphose, but this is the release where they had a black and navy colorway. I know they did a re-release differently, and sadly this was not one of the colors, maybe one day. So this is the JSK, and it has so many detachable parts. There's detachable ribbons that go right in the tiered section of the skirt. There's also detachable waist ribbons that have a pearl chain between them. There's a detachable yoke in the middle, a detachable frill ruffle on the sleeve, and on the bottom of the skirt. So this is one that when I feel it, I really feel my most elegant. It's such a beautiful, beautiful piece. There's a built-in petticoat, and anyone that enjoys antique bouquet, I mean, I feel like I'm speaking to everyone. But yeah, it's gorgeous. I really like it. I've worn it for my birthday before. That's how much I enjoy it. And yeah, this is also a piece where if I had to keep one, this would probably be one of the ones I would keep. So this one's really wrinkly because it's been folded over, and it is Baby's Ribbon Milky Sugar Black and White. This is the 2009 release, I think. It's an earlier release. So I'm really happy that they re-released this because now I can match my friends. And it also means that older releases get more available. I tend to be on the shorter side in general, but I like a shorter length skirt. And that's usually what I see in older releases. I'm very happy for the tall people, don't get me wrong. But as someone that likes their legs out, I'm just very happy I have an older release. And I like that it's made it more possible for my friends to twin with me, or if there's an old school themed meet, then they have something they feel more comfortable in. I just really think it's nice. Ribbon Milky Sugar, it's very I feel like it's very quintessential old school, despite being later. It just represents a lot of the themes you would see at the time. I know one of my friends talks about mid-school, and I guess I can see that here too. What attracted me to this piece in particular was the bodice. It reminds me of My Chemical Romance's Black Parade album, and with this like striped situation. It's just nice. It's shirred, it's comfortable, it's cotton. This is one I wear a lot in the basically anytime. It's the JSK cut, but it has that kind of sleeve where you don't need to wear a blouse under it if you don't want to, because it has kind of like a caplet situation for the sleeves. I wear it with a long sleeve blouse a lot. I also wear it with a short sleeve blouse during the summer months because it's just so comfy. I really like this next piece. It's from Moss Badger. They did a Cat Goblin mini release, I suppose, of different style bodices and cuts, which I thought was really unique. I've been taking a huge break from a lot of social media just because I don't think I'm getting a lot out of it most of the time. I still use Tumblr because it helps me keep up to date a little bit with things going on, and I also enjoy, for the most part, the Lolita community on Tumblr. I'm trying to stay more active on Blue Sky as well for similar reasons, but because of that, I don't get a lot of brand release information because brands typically don't post on those sites. So I had no clue that Moss Badger was bringing this Cat Goblin JSK, but I'm really glad I nabbed it at the Great Lace last year. So there's so many cute silly cats. This one is obviously such a standout. And what I thought was cool is that some of the bodice patterns were denim material, some were cotton, but they all had something super unique and one of a kind. It also has a great shirring panel in the back, and it's another piece where I feel very, very decadent in. So I actually changed my cording plans for that weekend afterwards. I can't remember what piece I brought to wear for the tea party for the Great Lace, but I know I decided I was going to hand wash my blouse from Saturday so I could wear this piece to the tea party, and I'm very glad I did. It was a really good memory. Moss Badger was really nice, and I'm very happy with this piece. Definitely I want to keep an eye more on what she's releasing. Following that, we have Twinkle Journey. This is the detachable bustle cut. I can't really remember what it's called, but I think it's really cool. I had the green colorway of it because it released around the time that I joined, and that was an underbust cut, and I'm so picky with my underbust cuts, so I was like, oh, I'm not really a fan of this, but I do still like this print. Luckily, I was able to get an older release. This one has purple as the grass ground colorway. The corset lacing in the front is functional because these are actually shirring panels, which I didn't realize. Detachable neckties that also have pin tucks, which is unique. And the detachable bustle in question. So I've never seen a detachable bustle, but I think that's a really cool concept. You can also adjust its tightness based on these strings. I didn't realize that when I bought it, so I'm like, why is this feeling tight? And it's because it had been tightened. So there's a small corset, there's a small shirring panel in the back of the JSK, but I really like this. I've worn this casually and I would like to wear it more. For a while, it was going to be my piece that I wore to the Gilded Age in Boston, but I realized I wanted to bring out a piece I hadn't worn yet, so that's why I went with Le Boudoir by Metamorphose. I just realized I didn't say the name for that Swallowtail collab. Oh well. So now we're about to get into my obsession, which is Metamorphose's Bridal series. This is the Bridal OP. This was from the original run, and what has made me so obsessed about it is this shiny shantung fabric with the flocking ornamental Art Nouveau patterns. There's an allusion to a stringed instrument like a mandolin. There are birds, doves making a nest in a flower bouquet. These beautiful ribbons, both swirling around and tied into a beautiful bow. And in the heart of this, what are those bells? It's not Lily of the Valley. It might be like John something. I'll look it up. But they curl up into a heart, and then the metamorphose in beautiful cursive is right at the base. I'm just obsessed with this pattern. I think it's one of the most beautiful patterns that they have done. And I want everyone to know about it, but I also don't because I want more of the pieces. So this is my love. This was my first dream dress, my ultimate dream dress, and I got it really early in. The listing for it was on JP Mercari or Frill, and it didn't even have the name in it. It just said Metamorphose OP. But I knew, I was like, that is for me. So at the time when I purchased this, the black colorway was not even on the on Lollyberry, but I spent so much time looking at it that I could immediately identify what had just come across my path. Originally, I did not see myself getting the black just because I had no frame of reference, but I'm so satisfied with it. I can't imagine any other situation. So this is the love of my life. She does not have shirring, but I do find her to be surprisingly generous for no shirring. That was actually my biggest fear when I got this piece, was that it wouldn't fit. And yeah, so she has beautiful thick waist ties. The sleeves are more of like a princess cut with a tiny amount of like give to them, I would say. That's probably the most limiting factor for me. But I love her, and you're about to see more of her. Following that, we have dress number 2 by Metamorphose. Dress number 2 uses the same fabric pattern as Bridal OP, and it's in another bridal release. So at the time that this was released, it also came out around the same time as dress number 1, which is stunning in her own right. And it was part of a GLB edition that went over weddings, so a lot of the other brands had weddings. There was a chapel. I think there's even an ad on Lollyberry saved for this piece that shows a wedding situation, and I like it. So it's very OTT, and this is another example of you can wear OTT wherever you want. I did a casual sushi meet, but I needed to wear this. So I wore it. It's stunning. The front is where the waist ties attach. They're not detachable. They also have this extra row of ruffly lace. The chest ribbons are so cute. 2 sets of straps for the neck that crisscross. There's a shirring panel in the back. And then just so many rows of lace. I just think this piece is wonderful. I have nothing else to say. It also comes with the little arm puff sleeves, like arm warmers almost, but like for your bicep. That reminds me a lot of early 90s, 2000s anime. I saw that a lot more common. And in the like Western sphere, some of my friends would wear things like that. So I really like it. I think it's cute, it's fun, it's silly and over the top, and so, so miraculous. So, so special. I've talked to my partner, and it's tough because if I'm going to get married and wear one of these dresses, I could wear Bridal OP, my ultimate dream dress, which is more toned down and it cuts off at the knee. Or I could wear dress number 2, which is also a bridal series piece. And I've got time to decide, but it's going to be a tough decision. We're not done yet. We've got Ornament Frill by Metamorphose. Ornament Frill, the Ornament series, is another that uses this bridal series print. However, it's not on silk shantung fabric. It is on cotton. So I've always wondered what the cotton situation was going to be like. I have an entire spreadsheet that documents which pieces Meta has released that has this bridal OP pattern. So they've had different names over the years. This is one of the times when they released it in cotton, and the lace is crown lace, which I think is really beautiful. This frill in the front is detachable. So you can have a lower swooping neckline that will show off your blouse and necklace details more if you so choose. There's this interesting satin ribbon that cuts in between the bodice and 3 sets of bows that fill this part up. Detachable waist ties, partial back shirring, and here's some more of that lace detail with the crown. Hopefully you can see it. So this piece is really, really long, and I knew it was going to be long. I didn't realize it was going to be so long. So I could see myself wearing this in more of my casual gothic weekend outings. But I haven't quite figured out how I want to court it in a more Lolita way, despite how much I love this particular release. I like that instead of it being black on black, it's black and gray, so you can see more of the designs. But that is also part of the charm for some of the black on black is you get closer and you see these details that you didn't see before. So this is beautiful ornament print. Yeah, I think if I could choose, I would swap for the ornament OP, which also has more of an A-line cut that I'm growing more and more fond of. But that's the current situation with my bridal series collection. I have many more bridal series pieces I would like. But for now, that's where we're at. Angelic Pretty's French Cafe in black. This is the MTO. I've spoken about this in previous editions of my wardrobe. This was my first MTO or pre-order or whatever from AP. I usually buy all my stuff secondhand, so this was my big AP purchase. And they really let me down because I felt like the eyelet lacing that's on the bottom is a little messy with the edges. I have so many eyelet pieces from different brands, different years, and it just feels very frayed at the edge. And that's how I received it. I know that the cut has been a little strange for some people in the bodice, particularly if you're not very chesty. I think there's been some looseness, and it also sits on me sometimes a bit strangely. But I still really like it. It took me a while after the initial heartbreak of pre-ordering it, waiting for it to come in, and then getting it in a condition where everyone really hypes up AP. And I know their MTOs are very much a gamble, but I was like, ugh, heartbroken. Overall, it's really nice though. It's a beautiful, sturdy cotton. The details are great. This neon pink with this bloody red raspberry. It's just fun. And then to me, this looks like a personal make your own pizza with pepperoni, which I find very fun. I also, of course, I love the cups with the daisies. Daisies are one of my favorite flowers. And I really like this piece. I don't wear it as much as I should, but it has a fondness because the first time I went out in a full Lolita cord or even like attempted a Lolita cord in public was at a local French cafe that is now no longer in business. So it has a lot of sentimental value to me as well. But yeah, so this is really good. Despite the initial flaws, it's still very comfortable, and I like how the red and pink pops on the black colorway. So the other piece in my wardrobe that's not in my wardrobe right now is a Bear Cutso OP in brown by AP. I've actually had this for a few years, but I've never brought it up in a wardrobe video. I got it at a swap meet, and it's just my nice, I want to look cute, I don't feel good, or it's raining. And yeah, so it's cute. It has little pockets. I usually put like a small A-line petticoat under it, but it's just so cozy. I really like it. The hood has bear ears. The trouble I have is because I have dark brown hair, if I put a brown KC on my head, it usually doesn't show up. But it's a great piece. It's a great, great casual piece. I don't know what else to say. So comfy. The other piece that is not in my wardrobe is on me. So thank you, Kim, for selling me AP's Milky Planet in black. This is an earlier release. It's the halter cut, so it doesn't have the straps that the new MTO came off with. but it also came with the KC. The glitter looks pretty good. You probably can't see it from here. And this is actually the first piece that I've bought in 2026. So I didn't plan to it. We went to the swap meet and I was like, well, if something comes up. But the price was really good. So thank you, Kim. I really love this. As soon as I got home from the swap meet, I took the Marine Island that I had been wearing off because I was courting with Pink that day, and I put this directly on top of my under like cord pieces. And I can already tell I'm going to be wearing this piece a lot in my casual weekends, date night, whatever. It just makes me happy. So thank you, Kim. So that's everything that I have in my wardrobe currently. There's also another piece I forgot to mention because it needs some TLC, and that is Baby the Starshine Bright Fa La La Swing Furry Puppy. I think the second cut, and in the Saks colorway. So that one has one of those flimsy, invisible zippers that I think Baby is known for, and it just so happened that mine broke. So I've removed the zipper, and now I'm in that phase where I'm deciding, do I want to put another invisible zipper in, or do I just want to sew it up and let the shirring do the work? Because I don't really use the zipper anyway, and it seems more of like a hazard than anything else to me. So that's the only other piece that's not in here that I will be holding on to. There's a couple of pieces that are in a transition phase in my wardrobe where I'm deciding if I want to hold on to them, if I want to sell them, or if I want to modify them. So that's kind of where we're at. But overall, I really like the way I'm starting 2026. I definitely think I'm at my limit, and I think if you've watched me put all these in, you would probably maybe think something similar. There's not really a whole lot of room in here. But I had a lot of fun doing this. It's nice to reflect. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more of my stuff, I'm on Tumblr at Blueberry Pancakes Please, PLS, not Please Fool. I'm also on Blue Sky as Blueberry Pancakes X because there is a character limit on Blue Sky. Besides that, here is also where you can find me, so you could subscribe. I tend to go to Lolita events, and I like to do reviews of them when I do. And otherwise, that's it. So, are there any wardrobe pieces you're looking for? Are there any pieces that stood out to you in my wardrobe? Other shout outs would be this bag I got from someone secondhand. This is the Mr. Wolf bag from Alice and the Pirates. He's so silly, and from the stock photos, I thought these were little fabric patches for eyes, but they are actually little rhinestones. So I hope you have a great year. I wish you and your loved ones health and luck and all the good stuff. So thank you for watching and have a great day.